Overdrive this week, we check out a new 390cc off-roader from KTM India, the 390 Enduro R. Step into the revamped Mahindra India design studio and Kranti takes a spin in BMW's quirky urban mobility offering. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I am Soini Dutt. If you're planning to invest in a dirt bike in India, then you'll be very excited to know that KTM has launched yet another 390cc motorcycle called the Enduro R. Now this is very capable of tackling not only light trails but also get down and dirty. In fact, it is even more capable than the KTM 390 Adventure. Chris has all the details.
KTM pretty much had the entire country super stoked when they broke news that they would be bringing this motorcycle, the 390 Enduro R, out here to India. Because, well, if you fancied the motorcycle in the pictures and you checked out the spec sheet, well, this was pretty much KTM's version of a dirt bike. We finally have a chance to get our hands on it out here at the Pro Dirt Academy in Pune, on the outskirts of Pune. And without wasting any more time, let's see what this motorcycle has brought to the table. In terms of design aesthetics, the 390 Enduro is a proper dirt bike, minus the pronounced exhaust can. And of course, it's not as hardcore looking as something like the EXC F6 days bikes in KTM's lineup. Now, minimalist styling is paramount with this kind of motorcycle, and the 390 Enduro looks great in the flesh. It's got a headlamp unit which looks like it's been taken straight out of the 690 Enduro's parts bin. It's got chunky Mitas tires on the 21 18-inch spoke wheels, but it's not a tubeless setup like it is with the 390 Adventure. Now, unlike the 390 Enduro model that's available abroad, this India spec bike out here gets the same suspension units, which are WP Apex units, as the 390 Adventure, albeit in a slightly altered tune. This India spec model gets a sari guard, a crash guard and some grab handles for it to be deemed road legal out here. And these bits on there mean that the curb weight of this motorcycle is now up to 177 kgs, which is rather heavy for a dirt bike. Now, when it comes to features, the 390 Enduro doesn't come with a long list like that on the 390 Adventure. There's no multi-axis IMU, so that leaves cornering ABS, cornering traction control all left out, and there's no cruise control on there too because, well, this isn't a bike that's ideally meant for touring. But you do get some Bluetooth connectivity and turn-by-turn navigation on that neat, slim and wide color TFT unit that is surprisingly good to read out information. You get two customizable ride modes, which are street and off-road, to toggle through using the joystick. And the 399cc liquid-cooled LC4C engine that powers the Enduro is in the same state of tune as it is in the 390 Adventure, and it even puts down identical power and torque figures of 46 PS and 39 Nm. But on this motorcycle, well, it is running a 1448 sprocket setup, which means that it has got two additional teeth at the back as compared to the 390 Adventure, and also it's running an 18-inch wheel at the back, while the Adventure runs a 17. You just have traction control and ABS, both are switchable on this motorcycle, and ABS can be completely switched off even at the front thanks to that dedicated button. You have a nice display, very minimalistic, but yeah, it is quite functional, very easy to read on the go. And yeah, in my opinion, on a motorcycle of this category, well, you want the lesser the better, because you're going to be riding rough, you're going to be riding hard on this kind of bike. It's going to take a couple of tosses, things are going to go awry, and the less you have, well, the less you'll have to fix. Out here, I got to check out a proper dirt track graced with everything including ruts, jumps, berms, and even explored some trails with loose stones, gravel, some rocks, all while blitzing along the hillside. It got super hot out here, so we went to cool things down in a river at one point, and later dried off with some airtime. The Enduro managed everything I threw at it with a great sense of composure. The chassis and the subframe are identical to that on the 390 Adventure, and it just feels so good when you're pushing on this bike. The Enduro feels sound when you need it to be, and it's also easy to unsettle to change directions super quick with this one. A highlight of the 390 Enduro is the fact that you have a good amount of shove on tap low down the power band on account of the altered gearing and those Mitas tires that work ever so well on loose surfaces. I think that if you ride the 390 Enduro and the latest second gen 390 Adventure back to back, you'll find yourself feeling a lot more confident and much faster tackling the rough stuff on the 390 Enduro on account of the power delivery and the dynamic configuration. The calibration of the brakes too is superb on this bike given my expectations and its capabilities. Alright, now in terms of seating and ergonomics, you have a nice flat bench seat. It is higher than something like the 390 Adventure, and ground clearance is up as well. Now the tank is nice and narrow. You have a smaller tank, it's a 9-liter tank on here. Handlebar is nice and wide. You have some risers on there, and that means your seating position, well, it doesn't feel as bunched together. Your legs don't feel as bunched together as they do on the 390. For somebody of my size and frame, standing on the motorcycle also feels a lot better, although I would like to have it a little taller for me. But yeah, in terms of riding and off-road, well, you do get a nice grip of the bike with your midsection. So now it's time to address the elephant in the room. What is the big difference between the 390 Enduro and the 390 Adventure? Well, in short, the answer is the 390 Adventure is a dual-purpose motorcycle that allows you to go off-road, but it is more road biased, and that allows you to do a good amount of touring on this one as well. Whereas the 390 Enduro, on the other hand, well, this one tilts more in favor of off-road agility. So if you plan on doing a good amount of long-distance touring, the Enduro won't be the ideal choice for you, especially from the KTM stable. The Enduro is meant for those who love to aim for the whole shot, who want to change direction with the whack of a throttle, get the tail out, brake hard, lean the bike in before hitting the berms, leap off tabletops, blitz through the whoops, that kind of thing. The 390 Enduro is in essence a lovely dirt bike from KTM, but the unfortunate bit is that we don't see the model out here with the setup that the international spec model gets, which is the full-blown suspension with 230mm of travel and also a taller seat. Now, while the difference in numbers might appear minimal on paper, they make a massive difference while you're riding out in the real world. Yes, of course, now some of you will be disappointed with the fact that this motorcycle isn't as tall or doesn't offer you as much suspension travel as the model that you get abroad. But considering the average Indian height and usage, consumer case scenarios, well, this motorcycle, the way it's set up in its stock form, it gives you just the right amount of power. It's a good balance between power, functionality, and yes, form as well. Given the limited amount of options you have in the market in this particular category, well, this is a very sound package as it stands.
Well, it's time to head into our first commercial break here on the show, but don't go anywhere because on the other side we tell you all about Mahindra's India Design Studio based in Mumbai. Welcome back here with us on Overdrive. The Mahindra India Design Studio in Mumbai has been revamped and it now houses state-of-the-art design tech to digitize car designing process. Tuhin was at the facility recently to talk to Pratap Bose, the design head of Mahindra & Mahindra. Let's listen in.
We're at the new Mahindra India Design Studio here in Mumbai, and we have someone I think who will give us a great idea of this place. This is Pratap Bose. He's the design and creative head of Mahindra & Mahindra. Pratap, thank you so much for speaking to Overdrive.
Thank you. Thank you.
So can you tell us a bit about this place and what was the thought behind coming up with it?
Yeah, design in Mahindra has existed since the late 90s actually. A part of this building was then created as a dedicated design studio in 2015, 10 years ago. And since then, we've really grown as a company, as you know. Not only in the SUV and farm vertical, we've got new verticals, so last mile mobility, for example. And each of these businesses have also expanded their offering. So we have 5 SUV families today. We have a huge range of commercial vehicles, under 3.5 ton. We've got trucks and buses, tractors in 2 major brands, and last mile mobility. So to service all of these business needs for product range, product creation, product offering, we've had to expand our studios. We've also brought in some new emerging design skills, so for example HMI, human machine interface, UI UX, what we call design perceived quality. These are things we've now able to do. Paint development, color development, we can now do that in-house. So there were these couple of reasons to actually invest in a expansion like this.
Now earlier today you showed us, it was quite a spectacle when you showed us this machine at work. And from what you told us, this is still probably, clay modeling is still the most analog, hands-on bit of design. So can you just tell us, for someone who doesn't exactly know what clay modeling really is, what role it plays in the design process? If you can just take us through what's happened here.
Of course. So, you know, we start always with pen on paper. That's the most expressive way of doing it, but a customer doesn't buy a sketch.
Sure.
Customer buys a product.
Sure.
We very quickly move to a digital model of that, digital 3D model.
Sure.
But that is still on a screen, even if it's virtual, etc. You still cannot touch it and you cannot feel it, which is why we create clay models.
Yeah.
The data which is created in a digital format comes to this 5-axis milling machine, which then, you know, from a big block of clay creates that shape which the designer has, let's say, visualized. But then when you see it in full size, you may or may not be happy with a couple of things, lines or surfaces. Then the designers will put a physical tape and our clay sculptors will actually, you know, shape the model. And this is what gives the touch of the hand in what ends up in our showroom.
Yeah.
You know, so that when you go in the showroom, you can feel the care that's gone into designing and manufacturing our vehicles.
Now with AI coming in and design being one of the places where it's sort of had quite a bit of impact. So do you think in automotive design, the whole process that you just mentioned, is there some way that you, for example, could use AI in a way to add more value or just...
Look, I think AI is a tool like many other tools. You know, when these machines came and digital modeling came, everyone said clay would be gone. Clay has come and is here to stay, stronger than it's ever been before.
Sure.
Clay was, you know, clay modeling was invented in the 60s in GM in America. We are in, you know, the mid-20s and we're still using it more today than it ever was. So look, AI, Photoshop, CAD, CAM, all of these are tools which we are integrating, we embrace, and it gives you the possibilities, you know. But finally, there's two things you need, which is I call HI, human intelligence, and taste. Design is all about taste. You know, in those thousands of options that an AI can create, you still have to choose the right one for your brand, for the product, etc. So I think, yeah, it's a great tool. We are integrating that in our processes already.
Okay.
Especially in visualization, and we love it.
Pradap, thank you so much. It's been a great conversation. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Well, it's time to head into our final refreshment break here on the show. But coming up on the other side, we tell you all about the urban, quirky BMW. Welcome back here with us on Overdrive. BMW Motorrad's urban mobility solution has us completely baffled. Is it a scooter? Is it a motorcycle? Well, it's somewhere in between and it's completely electric. Let's go check it out. It's the BMW CE02.
There are so many things in life which are not supposed to be analyzed or understood all the time. Some of them are just supposed to be loved and enjoyed. This is the BMW CE02. So why am I confused? Look at this bike. For example, the price. With this Highline option pack, the ex-showroom price is almost 5 lakh rupees. Then look at the size and the dimension. This floating seat design, which is pretty comfortable, but comfortable for one rider. The pillion might not be comfortable. And look at the seat height, just 745 mm. And most importantly, the tested range is just 108 kilometers. So why did I say that this feels like a concept which went into production without any compromises? So let's take a look at those features, so those aspects which I find really interesting, very distinct and quirky. According to the official presentation, the BMW CE02 is a piece of street art. That simplifies the story for us. When you introduce any creation as a piece of art, it opens up the world of interpretation. So is the case with CE02. Technically, the cheapest electric vehicle from BMW at an ex-showroom price of Rs 4.49 lakh, but it's not a typical BMW by any standards. Neither a track machine nor a bike you would want to take on a transcontinental ride. CEO2 is more of a statement for customers looking at something unique, youthful and playful to match their garage's BMWs. It was developed in Germany and produced in India at the TVS plant in Hosur. So let's start with the context and dimensions first. This weighs 142 kilos. The seat height is 745 mm, and just for your reference, I am 6'3", almost 6'3". So this is not that small, maybe in the frame. Look at this floating seat design. The seat is pretty comfortable. The riding style or riding stance is also pretty comfortable. CEO2 comes with a very quirky and unusual design. The boxy body on a torsionally rigid double loop frame made of tubular steel. Telescopic forks operate at the front and a single-sided swing arm and a directly pivoted shock absorber at the rear. Plus, wide tires on all black aluminum wheels give a very skateboardish look. You sit low on a narrow seat and have an option of 2 leg positions in solo mode. Relax on the rider footrests or sporty dynamic on the pillion footrests. I wasn't sure how I looked on the camera, but I felt connected as a rider, especially when I transferred my foot onto the rear pegs. You get 3 riding modes in CE02, Flow, Surf and Flash, where Flash mode is part of the Highline package, which is optional. That means an extra 50,000 rupees. The Highline package includes gold anodized fork, distinctive tape designs, and a smartphone holder which can work as an extension to the 3.5-inch TFT screen fitted on the bike. Plus a faster 1.5 kilowatt charger and heated grips. With the help of this bigger charger, 20 to 80% state of charge can be achieved in 102 minutes, and this 3.9 kilowatt hour air-cooled lithium-ion battery will take around 3.5 hours to charge from 0 to 100. But the standard charger with CE02 is a smaller one, 0.9 kilowatt capacity, which might take more than 5 hours. The bike promises a range of 108 kilometers under test conditions. The suspension is not very rigid. It's pretty balanced, I would say, pretty comfortable, I would say, even on broken roads. But what I did, maybe that was my own hack, I was riding like this, but in case of sudden jolts or potholes, I felt that impact on my back. So what I did, I moved my foot back and then I had some cushion. So that way, it's a comfortable ride, enjoyable ride. One thing which stood out, which I liked the most, was the refinement and control at slow speeds. This was very interesting. I mean, the accelerator, the throttle was not snappy, it was not unpredictable. So even at slow speeds, you could ride it easily, take it in and out of any parking or dense traffic. So it's very easy to use in those scenarios, those conditions. So that was something which stood out. I really liked it. When you rev it further, it's not like a speed machine. It's not like pocket rocket. It goes fast. This produces around 15 PS of power and 55 Newton meters of torque. So it's pretty potent and power is adequate. But again, as I mentioned, not a pocket rocket either. Riding the CE02 is an interesting experience in the city traffic. A, it guarantees you a lot of attention, and B, it is agile and lean enough to dart out of any traffic. For context, the design and silhouette of this bike reminded me of Honda Navi, but more proportional. This bike's positioning is more playful, but it has a solid practical side as well. The seat is comfortable, the cushioning is good, the straight line ride quality and fast turns don't scare you at all. The acceleration is smooth and braking is efficient, precise. However, you only get ABS on the front brake, which meant a tire screeching noise from the rear every time I slammed the brake. The CE02 is a comfortable, engaging machine, but e-parkourer? I'm not sure. The image of parkour in my mind involves a lot of jumping around, and I expected something similar, but whatever time I spent with the CE02, it didn't feel like an eager jumper. Even over regular speed bumps at regular speeds, it showed its way. The landing wasn't as planted as I expected. Having said that, the ride in itself is consistent, spirited, and confident. Whether it's regular traffic or fast moving like the Great Noida Expressway traffic.
Well, it's time to wrap up this week's edition of Overdrive. But remember, you can stay in touch with the team through our various social media platforms, and you can write to us on YouTube as well. We'll see you next week. Until then, goodbye. Many thanks for watching. Drive and ride safe.